I thought my wife was loyal. But I found out she was meeting my best friend, every Friday. Even my sister-in-law knew, and said nothing. My name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I had everything. A wife who looked at me like I hung the moon. 2 kids who ran to the door screaming, "Daddy's home." Every single night. A house with a mortgage we were actually ahead on. Game nights. Sunday pancakes. The kind of boring, beautiful people write country songs about. And I hid away because I thought I was special. It started 6 months ago at a work conference in Denver. My wife Sarah had just given birth to our second kid 3 months earlier. She was exhausted all the time, touched out, running on fumes. I told I was being understanding when I said she should stay home. That I'd handle the conference alone. Truth is, I wanted the break. I wanted to feel like the old me again. The me before diaper bags and minivans. That's where I met Jen. She was a marketing consultant from another company. Tall. Confident. Laughed at all my jokes. We ended at the hotel bar after the first day's sessions. And for the first time in months I felt seen. Not as a father. Not as a husband with responsibilities. Just as me. We talked for hours. About dreams we'd put on hold. About feeling invisible in our own lives. She touched my arm when she laughed. I didn't move it away. Nothing happened that first night. I went to my room alone, texted Sarah goodnight. Looked at pictures of my kids. Told it was just friendly networking. But my heart was racing in a way it hadn't in years. The next night, we met again. And the night after that. By the third night, we were in her room. I told it was just talking, just connection, right until it wasn't. When I had exactly 3 seconds to stop it. 3 seconds to think about Sarah at home. Alone with a newborn and a toddler. Probably wearing stained pajamas and counting down the minutes until I came home. I didn't stop it. We spent the last 2 nights of the conference together. I deleted messages. I showered twice before heading to the airport. I practiced my, "How was the trip?" smile in the bathroom mirror. I bought Sarah expensive flowers at the airport gift shop. Like $30 of guilt wrapped in cellophane. When I walked through the door, my daughter Emma tackled my legs. My son Michael was crying in his bassinet. Sarah looked exhausted and beautiful, and so happy to see me. She'd made my favorite dinner, even though she was running on 2 hours of sleep. Told her I missed her. Helped with the kids. Played the perfect husband. And inside, I felt nothing but the sick thrill of having gotten away with it. Jen and I kept in touch. Just texts at first. Funny memes. Inside jokes from the conference. I told it was harmless. We were friends. But I was checking my phone constantly. Angling it away from Sarah. Smiling at messages in ways I hadn't smiled at my wife in months. The texts got more personal. More flirty. We started calling when I was working late. I'd sit in my car in the grocery store parking lot, talking to her for an hour before going inside to grab the milk Sarah needed. 2 months after Denver, Jen flew to my city for a meeting. We met for lunch. Then lunch turned into an afternoon. Then I was texting Sarah that I had to work late. Then I was in a hotel room again. Making choices I couldn't take back. This time felt different though. This time felt intentional. Planned. I'd looked at my calendar, saw Jen was coming, and I'd felt excitement instead of guilt. I'd planned to lie to Sarah before Jen even landed. That's when I knew I was in deep. The affair lasted 4 months. 4 months of double lives and secret phones and elaborate lies. I started fights with Sarah. Over nothing, so I'd have an excuse to leave the house angry. I volunteered for every business trip. I stopped having with my wife. Told her I was just stressed about work, while I was sleeping with someone else twice a week. I watched my daughter's preschool graduation over FaceTime. Because I told Sarah I had an unmissable meeting. I was actually in a hotel room, 2 towns over. Emma cried because Daddy wasn't there. Sarah sent me a video. I watched my 4-year-old's face crumple and I felt annoyed that it was interrupting my time with Jen. That's who I'd become. The kind of man who chooses his affair over his daughter's graduation. My best friend Marcus started noticing something was off. We'd been friends since college. He was my best man. My kids called him Uncle Marcus. He'd come over for beers and I'd be glued to my phone, smiling at messages, disappearing to take a work call. One night he asked me straight, Air cheating on Sarah. I laughed it off. Called him paranoid. Told him work was just crazy busy. He looked at me like he didn't recognize me and said, "I hope know what a risking man. Sarah's one of the good ones." I knew. God. I knew. But I'd built this whole narrative in my head. Sarah had changed after the kids. She was always tired, always touched out, always putting them first. I deserved to feel wanted. I deserved passion. I'd earned it by being a good husband who helped with dishes and changed diapers sometimes. The delusion was spectacular. I didn't know that Marcus went straight to his wife after that conversation. I didn't know that his wife Rebecca was Sarah's sister. I didn't know that they started watching me more carefully, collecting evidence, preparing for the they knew was coming. I didn't know that the last time I my wife goodbye, before a business trip, would actually be the last time I'd ever kiss her as my wife. I just kept lying. Kept choosing Jen. Kept telling that what Sarah didn't know wouldn't her. I was wrong about everything. The end came on a Tuesday. Isn't that? Not even a dramatic Friday or weekend. Just a random Tuesday in October. I was supposed to be at a sales conference in Chicago. I was actually at Jen's apartment across town. We'd spent the afternoon together. I was lying in her bed, checking my phone, when I saw 17 missed calls from Sarah. 17. My stomach dropped. I called back immediately. She answered on the first ring. "Come home." Her voice was flat. Empty. I'd never heard her sound like that before. "Are the kids okay?" "The kids are fine. Come home. Now." She hung. I on my clothes. Jen asked what was wrong. I barely answered. The 30-minute drive home felt like 30 hours. My mind was racing through possibilities. Someone died. Something happened to one of the kids. A break-in. Anything except the truth. I pulled into our driveway at 4:47 p.m. I remember the exact time because I looked at my dashboard clock and thought about how I was supposed to be landing in Chicago right then. Sarah was sitting on the front porch steps. My brother-in-law Rebecca's car was in the driveway. So was Marcus's truck. My stomach turned to ice. I got out of the car slowly. Sarah stood. She was wearing jeans and my old college sweatshirt. She'd been crying but her face was stone now. "Sarah. I can explain." "Explain what?" She held her phone. "Explain why you're standing in front of me when supposed to be in Chicago. Explain the hotel receipts I found in jacket. Explain who Jennifer is, and why she's been texting, good night every single day for 4 months. My mouth opened. Nothing came out. Rebecca came out onto the porch. She looked at me with pure disgust. Sarah asked me to be here. Don't even think about lying to her face right now. Marcus came out next. My best friend. The guy who'd stood next to me on my wedding day. He wouldn't even look at me. How long? Sarah's voice cracked. How long have been cheating on me? I could have kept lying. Part of me wanted to, but standing there, looking at her broken face, something in me, just gave, since June, the Denver conference. Sarah's hand went to her mouth. She made a sound I'll never forget. Not quite a sob. More like the noise someone makes when they've been physically hit. I was home with a 3-month baby. I had mastitis. I called crying because I was so overwhelmed and exhausted I wanted to. Told me had to go to a dinner meeting. Her voice was rising now. We're with her. While I was alone, bleeding through my shirt, trying to keep our children alive, we're with her. Sarah. Were, ever actually working late, any of those times? I couldn't answer. The silence was the answer. Oh my God. She sat down the steps. Oh my God. When missed Emma's graduation. When said had that emergency meeting. I'm sorry. Dioent. She stood so fast Rebecca had to steady her. Don't dare say you're sorry. Made a choice. Every single day for 4 months. Looked at me and our children and chose to lie. Chose to sneak around. Chose to risk everything. Emma opened the front door. My beautiful 4-year-old daughter with Sarah's eyes and my dimples. Mommy, why are yelling? Sarah's entire demeanor changed. She wiped her eyes, forced a smile. Mommy's okay baby. Go back inside with the babysitter. Okay, I'll be right there. Emma looked at me. Hi daddy. I thought we're on an airplane. The innocence in her voice destroyed me. Hi sweetheart. Go inside. Okay. She skipped back in, completely unaware that her world was ending. Sarah waited until the door closed. Then she turned to me with a fury I'd never seen. Don't get to see them right now. Don't get to walk in there and pretend everything's fine. They're my kids too. Are they? Rebecca then. Because a father doesn't abandon his family for some woman he met at a conference. A father doesn't miss his daughter's milestones because he's too busy screwing around. Marcus finally spoke. I straight asked if we're cheating, and looked me in the eye and lied to me. I know. I've known for 15 years. I thought I knew what kind of man we're. I was wrong. He shook his head. Rebecca wanted to tell Sarah as soon as she suspected. I made her wait because I didn't want to believe my best friend could do this. I protected. And we're lying the whole time. The betrayal in his voice deeper than I expected. Sarah pulled a folder out from behind her back. I hired a private investigator 3 weeks ago. After Marcus told Rebecca he was worried. I didn't want to believe it either. She the folder at my feet. Photos spilled out, me and Jen at restaurants. Going into hotels. One of us kissing in a parking lot, time stamped. Dated. Undeniable. I know about every time. Every Friday afternoon said we're at the gym. Every business trip that wasn't a business trip. I know spent our anniversary money on a weekend with her, in Boston. I'd forgotten our anniversary was the same weekend as that trip. Sarah had suggested we celebrate the following weekend instead since I was traveling for work. She'd been understanding. Supportive. While I was with Jen. I loved. Sarah's voice broke completely now. I loved so much. I gave everything. I gave 2 beautiful children. I supported career. I made our house a home. I lost trying to be a good wife and mother. And the whole time, how could? I don't know. It was the first honest thing I'd said. I don't know. I was selfish. I convinced I deserved it. Her light changed. Her laugh was bitter. I had babies. I kept children alive while my body fell apart. I was exhausted because I was doing everything while we're out there feeding ego with someone who doesn't even know who really are. She was right. Jen knew the fun version of me. The one without responsibilities. She didn't know about the time I cried watching Emma take her first steps because I was so overwhelmed with love. She didn't know how Sarah and I used to stay all night talking about our dreams. She didn't know the real me at all. I want out of this house tonight. I want to pack a bag and leave. My lawyer will contact tomorrow about custody and divorce proceedings. Divorce. The word felt unreal. Sarah's. We can work on this. Work on this. Work on us. She was screaming now. Destroyed us. Didn't make a mistake. Made 1,000 deliberate choices to betray me. Every text, every lie. Every time touched her instead of me. Those were choices. She was crying hard now. Rebecca put an arm around her. Do you know what the worst part is? I blamed. When stopped touching me, when started picking fights, when seemed distant. I thought it was my fault. I thought I wasn't good enough anymore. I lost 20 pounds trying to get attention back. I bought lingerie. Never saw. Because we're always too tired. I was breaking trying to save a marriage already destroyed. Each word was a. I'd watched her struggle. I'd seen her pain. And I'd used it as justification for my affair. Marcus stepped forward. I'm going to give one chance to leave with dignity. Pack stuff and go. Don't make this harder on Sarah than it needs to be. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Sarah's voice was cold now. Go to Jennifer. Go live Genesee. But don't get to stay here. Don't get to sleep in our bed. Don't get to our kids goodnight like everything's normal. I looked at the house. Through the window, I could see Emma playing with her dolls in the living room. Michael's baby swing in the corner. Photos of our family on the walls. 6 years of marriage, 8 years together total. Gone. All of it gone. I packed a bag while Rebecca watched me like a prison guard. I took clothes. Toiletries. Nothing else felt like mine anymore. Everything in that house had been ours. Now it was just theirs. When I came downstairs, Emma ran to me. Daddy, where are going? I knelt down. Looked at her perfect little face. Daddy has to go away for a little while. Sweetheart. Why? Because Daddy made some really bad choices and Mommy. Sarah's eyes widened. She hadn't expected me to tell the truth. But he'll come back. Emma's lip trembled. I don't know baby, she started crying. Her arms around my neck. Don't go Daddy. Please don't go. I held her. Breathed in her strawberry shampoo. Felt her little heartbeat against my chest. This was the last time I'd hold my daughter in our home. The last time she'd look at me like I was her hero, instead of the man who abandoned her family. Sarah gently pulled Emma away. Say goodbye to Daddy, honey. Bye Daddy. She was sobbing now. I love Pa. I love too Emma so much. Don't ever forget that. I looked at Michael sleeping in his swing. 6 months old. He'd never remember living with both parents in one house. His first memories would be of a broken family. Because of me. I stood. Looked at Sarah one last time. She was holding Emma, tears streaming down her face. Everything I destroyed in human form. I'm sorry isn't enough. I know that. But I am. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give me back the last 4 months of trust. Sorry doesn't undo the damage. She paused. Broke us. Broke our family. And someday, we're going to have to explain to our children why I chose someone else over them. I walked out the door. Got in my car. Drove away from the only home that ever mattered. I didn't go to Jen's apartment. I couldn't. Instead, I got a hotel room and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone, looking at photos of my family. Photos of it I'd burned to the ground. That was 6 days ago. Sarah's lawyer sent papers the next morning. She's asking for full custody with supervised visitation. She's asking for the house, for alimony, for everything. I deserve it. All of it. But knowing I deserve it doesn't make it less. When Emma's daycare asks when mommy's dropping her off alone now. And Emma says, Daddy doesn't live with us anymore, because he mommy's feelings. It's been 3 months since I moved out. 3 months of hotel rooms, and then a depressing studio apartment. That smells like the previous tenant's cigarettes. 3 months of supervised visits, with my kids, at a family center where a court-appointed supervisor watches me play, with blocks, and pretend everything's fine. The worst part. Everyone knows now. Sarah didn't blast me on social media. She didn't have to. Small town, big mouths. Within a week, everyone knew. The affair. The lies. The fact that I'd been with Jen while Sarah was home with a newborn. I got fired 2 weeks after I moved out. My boss called me into his office and said they were restructuring my position. But I knew the truth. His wife and Sarah were in the same book club. He looked at me with contempt when he handed me the severance papers. My parents stopped talking to me. My mom, who usually makes excuses for everything I do, called me once. Just once. She was crying. I raised better than this. I taught about commitment and loyalty and family. And away that beautiful girl and those babies for what? For some fling. I'm ashamed of point. Then she hung. Haven't heard from her since. My dad sent one text as, don't contact us until figured out how to be a man. I lost Marcus, obviously. He's been my best friend since we were 19. We'd talked every day for 15 years. Now my messages sit on read. When I ran into him at the grocery store last week, he looked right through me like I was invisible. Like I'd died. Maybe the version of me he knew did. My other friends picked sides. They picked Sarah. All of them. The group chat that used to with plans and jokes. I got removed. The fantasy football league we'd run for 6 years. They replaced me mid-season. I'm a ghost in my own. The thing about being the cheater is that nobody feels sorry for. There's no sympathy. No grace. People love a redemption story. But only if we're the victim. When the villain, or just the villain. I tried to explain to a few people at first. Tried to talk about how Sarah and I had drifted apart. How the intimacy died after the kids. How I felt invisible in my own marriage. Know what I learned? Those aren't reasons. They're excuses. And people can smell the difference. Sarah's thriving, from what I can see. She went back to work part-time. She looks happier in her Facebook photos than she has in years. Her hair short and it looks amazing. She's out with friends again. Living while I'm in therapy 3 times a week, trying to figure out how I became this person. My therapist keeps asking me to examine my choices. To take responsibility. To understand the depth of damage I caused. I get it now. Too late. But I get it. Every Friday, I have supervised visitation with Emma and Michael. 2 hours at a family center with plastic furniture and donated toys. Emma used to run to me screaming, Daddy! With pure joy. Now she walks in cautiously. Waits to see if I'm really there. Asks when she can go home. Last week, she brought a drawing she'd made at school. It was our family. Sarah, Emma, and Michael. I wasn't in it. Do want to draw Daddy too? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked at me with these serious eyes. But don't live with us anymore. Live somewhere else. I'm still Daddy though. I know. But families live together. We're the family. Or just Daddy who visits. 4 years old and she'd already rewritten the story without me in it. Michael doesn't even remember me living there. He's 9 months old now. When I hold him during visits, he reaches for the supervisor. I'm a stranger to my own son. The divorce was finalized last month. Sarah got everything. The house. Primary custody. I get supervised visits until the court-appointed psychologist decides I'm stable enough. For unsupervised time. That could be months. Could be years. I have to pay child support and alimony. Between that and my new rent, I'm broke. I took a job making half what I used to make. My apartment has one window and a hot plate. I sleep on an air mattress. Because I can't afford real furniture yet. This is what rock bottom looks like when the one who caused the avalanche. I called Jen 3 weeks after everything imploded. I don't know what I expected. Comfort. Understanding. Someone to make me feel less alone. I can't do this, she said immediately. I didn't sign for all of this. The divorce, the kids, the drama. It was supposed to be fun. Easy. I'm not trying to be someone's girlfriend while they're fighting for custody. So that's it. After everything. After everything. She laughed. It was cruel. Had everything. A wife, kids, a whole, it away and now want me to pick the pieces. I was never supposed to be. I was supposed to be escape from it. She hung. Blocked my number. That was it. The affair that cost me everything didn't even want me when I was actually available. I see Sarah sometimes, when I drop off child support checks. In person. She's always polite. Cold, but polite. She doesn't yell anymore, doesn't cry, she just doesn't care. That's worse somehow. Last month, I saw her at Target with the kids. She was laughing with some guy. He was pushing the cart. Emma was riding in it, giggling. Michael was in the baby seat smiling at him. I hid in the cleaning supplies aisle and watched my family look happy without me. Later that night, I called Sarah. I shouldn't have. But I was spiraling. Who was that guy? That's no with our kids. My kids. They're my kids. Get supervised visits twice a week. That's it, and who I spend time with is not concern anymore. Dating him. She was quiet for a long moment. Then. Don't get to care about that. Don't get to be jealous, or protective. Gave that right when chose Jennifer over us. Made 1,000 mistakes. For 4 months. Every day looked at me, and lied was a choice. Every time touched her instead of me was a choice. Every time missed something with our kids because we're with her was a choice. No. Do really understand what did. I will never trust anyone again the way I trusted. Emma asks me every night if Daddy's coming home. Michael will grow not knowing what it's like to have his father around. Didn't just betray me. Destroyed our children's sense of security. Her voice broke then. Just a little. Just enough to remind me she's still human under the armor. I hope it was worth it. I hope those 4 months of excitement were worth losing family. Worth losing kids' childhoods. Worth becoming the cautionary tale everyone in this town tells their husbands. She hung. I sat in my sad little apartment and realized she was right. It wasn't worth it. Nothing could be worth this. My daughter doesn't draw me in family pictures anymore. My son doesn't know me. My parents won't speak to me. My friends abandoned me. My wife is moving on with someone who will probably be a better father to my kids than I ever was. And I did this. All of it. Me. I wake every morning in a twin bed in a studio apartment, and remember waking next to Sarah. Remember her smile. Remember my kids crawling into bed with us on Saturday mornings. Remember pancakes, and cartoons, and the beautiful, boring routine I thought was trapping me. I'd give anything to be trapped like that again. But don't get second chances when you're the one who burned everything down. Don't get forgiveness when a villain. Just get to live with it. Every day. Forever. My therapist says I need to forget eventually. Learn from this. Grow. Become a better person. But how to forgive, when 4-year-old daughter looks at like a stranger? When son cries when hold him, When the woman promised forever to has started building a where don't exist. I thought I deserved better than my marriage. Turns out, my marriage deserved better than me. Last night, I drove past our old house. The lights were on. I could see Sarah through the window, dancing in the kitchen with Emma. Michael was in his high chair, clapping. They were laughing. They were fine. They're better without me. That's the thing they don't tell about being a cheater. Don't just lose family. Lose the right to be missed. Become the relief, not the loss. The problem that solved itself by leaving. I destroyed the only thing that ever really mattered. Because I thought I was special enough to deserve more. I'm writing this from my apartment at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep. Because Emma has a dance recital tomorrow that I'm not invited to. Because Michael took his first steps last week. And Sarah posted about it on Facebook, and that's how I found out. If we're reading this, and are thinking about cheating, if we're justifying that flirtation, or that text conversation, or that emotional affair, that hasn't turned physical yet, let me save the trouble of learning this the hard way. Stop. Right now. Whatever think missing, whatever think deserve, whatever story you're telling about why it's okay, it's not worth it. Cause don't just lose spouse. Lose kids, everyday moments. Lose friends, family, reputation, home, identity. Lose the right to be the hero in own story. And gain a lifetime of watching everyone love be happier without. I thought my wife had changed after kids. Turns out, I was the one who changed. Into someone I don't recognize, someone I despise, someone who traded forever for 4 months of feeling special. Now I'm just the guy who destroyed his family. That's my story. That's all I am. And I have to live with that every single day until I